Welcome. Today we're joined by Todd Fabacher, the co-founder of Digital Pomegranate. We'll be discussing a new investment project going on right now in the city of Gyumri. Todd, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
So to start off, the Minister of Economic Development, Vahan Kerobian, posted on Facebook about this project, which is going on right now in Gyumri. And the project itself includes a solar farm, a sports complex, residences, an industry zone, an Armenian-Chinese center, and a startup company hub. So this is a really comprehensive list of things that will be included. So can you introduce this project to our watchers and tell us what the project hopes to accomplish in Gyumri?
Well, first of all, if you want to understand the district, as we call it, you have to understand that Digital Pomegranate has been in Gyumri for over 8 years. So we started here very, very small with one person, and now we've grown to one of the largest tech companies in Armenia. So it's not just about this project. This project is an extension of Digital Pomegranate. So we started Digital Pomegranate really as a core, to create a core company. From the beginning, we wanted to start an array, build an array of startups, independent startups, but you need to have the core. 80% of most startups fail. They fail for several reasons. Number one, it's usually not money, believe it or not. They're usually because they can't get the product done, right? You can't get it done properly, so they end up failing. They run out of money because the resources it takes. So if you have those resources, then you would be able to do your startup much easier because you need less. Now the problem is, we've grown as much as we can grow in Gyumri. We offer free classes. You know, we, just like many people in the tech industry in Armenia, have sort of hit a brick wall. And I need to grow. We grew 300% last year, right? And we're going to double again this year. So I need 300 people, but I can't find them. So I was faced with the challenge. How can I get 300 people? So we did a big survey. We asked people, what are you looking for? Salary wasn't even on the top 5. You know, it was something sustainable, which was really interesting for me, for an old guy, an old fat guy. That would not have been, to be honest, would not have been on my top 5 list. They needed lifestyle. They were looking, especially for Gyumri, they were afraid that they wouldn't be able to have a sort of like European lifestyle that they've grown accustomed to, or even want even more. They want affordability. They want, not only they want that lifestyle, but they want it at a good price. And so it came to the situation. You know, you reach a crossroads. So I have to make a choice as a developer company. You know, if I can't find the people, I only have one or two choices. Either I bring the people or I leave the country. And fundamentally, and then I sat there one day, and as a good corporate citizen, you have to say to yourself, okay, it's beholden upon me to build my community. So that's where we came up with the idea of the district. We did some research, and as we came along, we basically found these particular type of land that would be able to develop into what we would call the district. And we were not able to find a good area that really followed the SDGs, or the UN Sustainable Development Goals. There was no community in the world that we could find that did all 17 SDGs effectively. So we, on the guise of the technology, we're going to build the first truly SDG community in the world.
And I mean, can you tell us a bit about the timetable? The first phase of the project will apparently last 3 years and will be funded with an investment of $20 million. So can you tell us a bit about the timetable?
Well, I think, so first of all, the 20 million isn't just about the project. The 20 million is not even just the physicality of it, it's also the startups. And we hope to produce somewhere between 10 to 15 startups a year based off of this. And so part of these startups also, not only are the tech startups, but they're also local startups. These would be cafes and restaurants. We would build housing for people and offices, and we all have to do it in a sustainable manner. The majority of the money is really going for startups. And from an investment point of view, even my own, the majority of it is coming from my money. We're really looking at finding a well-balanced portfolio. Let's say, for example, it would include real estate, it includes startups, it includes small businesses. So having that well-balanced portfolio that can return somewhere between 10 to 15% or even higher, you know, within, you know, nothing's guaranteed in life, but pretty stable, well-balanced investment portfolio is what we're really looking for.
And I'm interested also, why Gyumri? Why not Yerevan?
Why not? Why? So I came to Yerevan years and years and years ago. I'm an old hat at this startup thing. I've been doing it since the early 90s. And when I first came to Yerevan, it didn't look like a good investment portfolio for me. No, it just really didn't. I mean, I'm originally from New Orleans as we say. And it had been hit by a hurricane, Katrina, if you remember, and it wiped out the city. And so I came to Yerevan, then I went to Vanadzor, it was okay. And then I just so happened to have, and it was really interesting, when I went to Gyumri, I just really felt this affinity because I saw it immediately. Because I lived through it, right? My own family had lived through the hurricane. And I remember talking to my dad one time, and he's just like, look, you've got to invest. I said, I told him the situations, how, this and that. And I said, why? He said, look, I have 5 children, lots of grandchildren, but I never see any of them. He said, because we all left because of economic migration. He said, one of the biggest scourges in the world is economic migration, even in the United States. And so he's like, look, do the investment, make it happen. And we did.
And also, can you also...
and I do it for profit. I want to be really, really clear. This is not charity. I don't, look, I'm all up for helping my community and all that other stuff, but I'm a very, very profit-oriented person.
But are you surprised that some people are surprised that some investors have their eye on Gyumri now? Some people, when you speak to them, they're almost surprised that that has become an eventuality. What do you think about that?
Well, we prove it's possible, right? I mean, we and again, like I said, some people first come in, even within our big project, they're like, the first thing that people ask is, who's funding that? The EU, the UN, the Asian Development? And I'm like, no. It's my back pocket and the back pocket of many other people. I mean, we are primarily focused on private investment, and we believe that's the best way to do it. Because I write software. How is the economics minister going to help me with writing software? The best thing he can help me with is reasonable taxation, reasonable infrastructure, focused on education and things that I need, and I'm good. Just let business do what they do.
And what about the state structures? Do you think that they are making the path to investment easy? What advice, any recommendations?
Never had a problem with that.
Never.
I constantly, my wife's Armenian, by the way, in case anyone's ever wondering. And it's constantly, people always ask me, we go to parties, oh, how bad is it in Armenia? This, I've been here for years. I have never, ever had a problem, ever. If anything, I've had the opposite. We just went in front of, so we're applied, this is a former, it's 225,000 square meters of a former Soviet military base. And we're going to convert that into one of the most innovative, creative districts in the world. And, I went in front of the city council and we're signing an MOU with them, and we've come up with the lease terms and things of this nature. And, I have to tell you, I really appreciated and had a great experience with the city council. They asked some really, really hard questions, which is their responsibility. People are like, well, I'm sorry we asked such hard questions. Like, why would you be apologizing? They're asking like, is it a gated community? Are you going to do this? What about responsibility for other citizens? Are you going to help us? Are you going, as part of your responsibility, you're going to help build some homes for Domik? Are you just going to, and I thought it was wonderful, it was professional, it was pointed, and I appreciated it. And we answered as best we could, but of course they voted unanimously, which was fantastic, but because we really tried to be a good citizen there.
And also, can you tell our watchers a bit about Digital Pomegranate? If I understood correctly, they have opened a new office as well in Gyumri. So can you tell us a bit about not only the new office, but Digital Pomegranate itself?
Right. So what we specifically wanted to do, we originally were in the Gyumri Tech Center, and we were like the only startup there for our first 2 years almost. But now it's like thriving, which is like wonderful. But we outgrew it, right? It's an incubator. So we then moved on, and really kudos to EIF. It's a great place that got started, and several other people have started there and then moved out. We're one of those. So we didn't want to, the reason that we invested in land, in building right in the main square. And the reason we did that is we didn't want to move out to like a little tech park and have, to separate from the city. What our real goal was, we were heavily invested in downtown. We have 2 floors. We have built like a co-working space, so anyone can come in into a little cafe, and they can come. They can experience what it's like to work for a professional tech company. We have an artist loft where we have a lot of our creative startups that we deal with. We even have a rooftop lounge. And we really wanted to focus on sustainability. Even though we're in the main square, we're 100% solar. So we really invested. And so the idea was that we wanted to heavily invest because we want that extension between right a little bit on the edge of the city and right downtown. Because we want to build a corridor, this whole corridor and everything in between. I didn't want to just move everything out there and let the center just, become impoverished again, where all the jobs move out. So by us staying here, we really hope to do that. Now, in terms of Digital Pomegranate, we've been extremely successful. We grew 300% last year. And even then, this year, again, we're going to double. And we started originally doing contract work. We did excellent work for like Sony Music, huge corporations, Tesco in the UK, which is a supermarket. We did apps, working with HMRC in the UK. You're from the UK, you'd be surprised to know that in Gyumri, one of the only app-only solution that produces their VAT payments. Yes. Not necessarily web-based, only app-only. And that was all developed in Gyumri.
Fantastic. I'm very familiar with HMRC. I also want to ask, with the pandemic, with the war, and the subsequent political crisis, some people are worried about investor confidence in Armenia right now. So I'm curious, even though there have been improvements, for example, people bring up the example of improved infrastructure, roads, for example, decreased corruption, how would you assess investor confidence in Armenia right now in 2021?
Well, it goes in multiple things. Like generally speaking, like we have some pretty large contracts with large companies, and they simply said, "Are we good?" We said, "We're good." And they're like, "Fine." That really didn't become an issue. But for example, another one of the apps that we also do, and again, we originally started DP as a contract company doing work for others, and now we've branched off. So mostly a lot of the new deals we do as joint ventures or startups. So one is we call English Bento, which is we've digitized the Japanese English book for the university, like English 101 or 102. And it was a hard sell. I mean, you go, if you've ever sold to the Japanese, you understand it's a very long, arduous process. And we're out pitching Japan and continuing this war. We started with the beginning a little bit before COVID. And they were going to commit to doing 20,000 students in the middle of the war. And we were like, they're like, well, what's going on? I said, we're good. They trust us. They have their faith in us. Some people, to be also perfectly frank, when I asked them if they're okay with the war, their answer was, what war? The flip side of that was probably 80-90% of the world wasn't even aware of it. But that's another topic.
And I mean, the tech sector is something that's very focused on in Armenia. And I'm curious though, as someone who is involved, do you have any recommendations, anything you can advise on how certain problems can be ameliorated, how the tech sector, the tech industry can really be pushed forward with simple solutions?
Education. There's no simple solution. Here's the problem. There's no magic pill. It's education, education, education. Now, you have to take that education in different realms. You see, the problem is some of the solutions some people may not like. For example, you can do continuing education, people who have certain degrees. And like, for example, if someone speaks English well, and you can teach them how to be a quality, QA person, or you can teach them how to code. I lectured one time at the leadership school, which is a privately run little program that they pick like 20, 25 people, and they try to teach leadership skills too. So I usually lecture there every year. And a couple of years ago, there was a nice young lady, and she's like, I manage a bank, and I'm a finance person, but I always want to learn how to code. And I'm like, great. She goes, great what? I said, you got a job. She said, but I don't have any technical skills. And I explained to her, I can teach you technical skills. I cannot teach you to have a great attitude. I can teach you tech. That's not the problem. So what they really need to do is get people with really great attitude. And there's a lot of them here. There's there's a tremendous number of them. And you just have to provide that type of education. And the problem with here is, and where I sort of disagree is, everyone's all focused on, how would you say, university education. Yeah. An over-focus on this simple fact that you have to be a math major to get into tech, which is just simply not the case. It's ridiculous. You should be having 6 to 9 months coding crash courses. You should be giving them away for free. I know they have some, online. It's too difficult for online by themselves. It's just not possible.
But that's almost a global phenomenon as well. And
it is. It's a global challenge.
Yeah.
But you have to solve that problem, right? So you ask, the solution is, if you want a solution for your country, you have to solve that problem.
From my secondary school, the 3 kids that are doing best right now are the 3 that didn't go to university, interestingly. And I just wanted to ask as well, are there any things planned for the future, any projects planned that you can share with us today?
Well, I think for us, the big thing is the district. And so that's, you can go to the website, which is distrikt.am, and it's spelled with a K, not a C. So yeah, we decided to do something a little bit different, sort of a little branding. And it is a multi-phase thing, and we hope to, we want it to be very, very clear the concept of what we're trying to really do here. It's more than just like a tech park or an eco park. I mean, it is really, really, really going to be a sustainable development thing. And for example, we needed to effectively build 300 homes. Now, I'll give you an example of how you can take a challenge and fix it. So, that was the average home in Armenia costs $35,000. This is your average. Okay, it's built using old type of concrete and rebar that is questionable whether it's even effective if it's seismic possible. But the problem is the average, if you say the average home loan is between 10 to 12%, and the average income is $3,000 to $4,000, add it up. Your income doesn't even pay the interest on your home. How is that possible? So what I really want to focus on, what we decided to do was take 2 areas that we thought were really challenged in Armenia. One is affordable housing, and the second is agriculture. And we challenged ourselves as a tech company. We're out solving technical problems for companies and countries around the world. Why can't we do it for our own country and also profit out of it? So we decided to build a prefab factory that's going to produce. We used technology and automation, and we hired 27 engineers and architects. We went out and we hired all of them, and we have designed an awesome, it's ecological, it's sustainable, it's insulated, it's everything that Armenia needs. And so we can produce an 80 to 90 square meter building under $12,000 US. That's huge. You realize over 70,000 homes in Armenia don't even have toilets in them? Yeah. So, for me, and especially within Gyumri, you still have a few thousand, domics. Now you could say for whatever reason the number one challenge is affordable housing. And we hope to be able to produce between 3 to 4 homes a day. And we work with people from South Africa. We just went out and said, look, here's a real problem. How did they solve it? And the guys, they were like super helpful. They're like, hey, mate, anything, let's show you how we built 7 million homes. And if they can do it, and sure they had like diamond and gold resources and some taxation problems, but they set good, reasonable, achievable goals. And so we decided to do that, and we're gonna actually build and manufacture our own homes.
Oh, perfect, Todd. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll look forward to seeing your future ventures.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on CivilNet.